Real Madrid. Los Blancos. A behemoth. In the realm of European football, they're the greatest. Having knocked out Man City on penalties, Bayern Munich with stoppage time goals, and finally beating Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League final, they've proved to the world that this is their competition. It's never really about how good you are. It's about fortitude, heritage, and mentality. And when it comes to those three, nobody comes close to Real Madrid. With 15 Champions League titles, Los Blancos stand alone as the greatest club to ever exist. So how is it possible that no matter the manager, no matter what players they have, no matter what the score is, even in the 90th minute, Real Madrid continue to dominate the most prestigious tournament? The Galáctico era ended a long time ago, yet they have found a way to reimagine themselves, redefine themselves, and remain the best club in the world. To understand why this is, we'll have to start from the beginning. It's the year 1943, and Santiago Bernabeu is appointed as the president of Real Madrid. None of the board members expected he'd set the foundation for the future successes of the club. Several years later, in 1955, after Gabriel Hanot and his colleague Jacques Ferrand formed the European Cup, Bernabeu had already set the foundation for the club's success. He started the Madrid tradition of signing world-class players from all over the globe, as not many clubs were doing this back then. In 1953, he signed Francisco Gento, along with Alfredo Di Stefano, a two-time Ballon d'Or winner and the only winner of the Super Ballon d'Or, among other players who went on to establish Real Madrid as a powerhouse in European football. So it wasn't surprising that Madrid went on to dominate the European Cup with them in the ranks. They won the first 5 European Cups from 1956 to 1960, giving them a head start that was always going to be difficult to catch up with. From the very beginning of this competition's history, Real Madrid gained a sense of ownership or attraction to the cup, and that mentality just never left them. They weren't just dominating Europe, they were also dominating the Spanish league, winning the league a whopping 12 times from 1950 to 1970. They fell short in the early 60s, but came back in 1966 to win their last European trophy of the Bernabeu era before his passing in 1978. In the later years and immediate aftermath of Bernabeu's tenure, Madrid suffered. They lost their grip on the Spanish league, and their dominance in Europe debilitated, with key players from their earlier successes retiring or moving on, and the frequent change in management. After 1966, Madrid did not lift another European Cup for 32 years. This wasn't just because of their drop in form. It was also a result of the competition becoming more competitive. Teams like Ajax, Bayern, Benfica, Liverpool, Milan, and Inter had risen to fill the vacuum left by Madrid, but still, none of them were able to catch up with Madrid despite their 3-decade drought. From 1966 to 1997, the all-time Champions League standings looked like this: Real Madrid 6, AC Milan 5, Liverpool 4, Ajax 4, Bayern Munich 3, Inter Milan 2, and Benfica 2. This was still after the competition's name was changed to the UEFA Champions League in 1992. In the 1997 to 1998 season, under the management of Jupp Heynckes, they finally won it after their long drought, and did it again in 2000 under Vicente del Bosque. Many clubs had had their fair share of success in the Champions League, but no club had been able to return to the level of greatness they once had after falling off like Madrid did. The turn of the century marked the beginning of a new era for Madrid, because that was the year Florentino Perez took over as president. He came with the Galáctico philosophy, bringing in the very best players from around the world, just like Bernabeu did decades ago. 2 years later, this paid off as they won it again for the 9th time. Despite retaining the best players in the world, they faced another drought of European glory for 12 more years. After Florentino Perez got re-elected in 2009, he broke the bank again for big players, trusting his Galáctico philosophy, bringing in the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, Kaká, Xabi Alonso, and Karim Benzema. Then later, Gareth Bale. With them, Madrid won the Champions League in 2014. This approach worked even more in the long run, as they went on to three-peat in the Champions League between 2016 and 2018, something that had never been done before in the Champions League era. Even after losing possibly the greatest player in their entire history, they weren't affected much because they somehow found a portal that allows them to easily shift from one era straight into the next one seamlessly, keeping the continuity of the club that isn't reliant upon the personnel that's wearing the shirt, but the standards are identical. The team wasn't down for long, as they won it again in 2022 and again 2 years later against Borussia Dortmund, even after losing the best player in the world at the time. As it stands right now, the all-time Champions League standings are as follows: Madrid 15, Milan 7, Liverpool 6, Bayern 6, and Barcelona 5. Bear in mind that Madrid are the only one of these teams still on the rise. They have Mbappe, Vinicius, Rodrigo, Bellingham, and are still going to add Endrick to that squad. Madrid aren't reliant on one system or tactical approach. Traditionally, they're a counter-attacking side, which is perfect for knockout football. They've become a more fluid and adaptable team, making them very unpredictable and dangerous to their opponents. Their mentality is insane. They're never out. They can give you a false sense of security and hope just before they take it away. We saw it against Bayern Munich, Manchester City, PSG, Wolfsburg, Atletico Madrid. The list just keeps going on. To these guys, no matter how good you are, as long as they believe they can beat you, they'll go ahead and do it. Like Alfredo Di Stefano said, with Madrid, you don't play in finals, you win them. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video.